What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Sin City Crypto. I am David, and I'm joined by Robin. And today, the White House officially dropped their framework research paper on cryptocurrency and digital assets. We went ahead and went through the entire thing, and we are going to highlight and talk about some of the most pertinent information in there and where we think they're going to take this regulatory framework and how crypto is going to look moving into the future. We're going to get right into it. This is sourced from the actual White House document. So first, almost a quarter of digital coin offerings had disclosure or transparency problems, according to their research. This includes plagiarized documents or false promises of guaranteed returns. It also showed, their research showed, monetary losses from digital asset scams were nearly 600% higher in 2021 than compared to 2020. And they also want the CFTC and the SEC to aggressively pursue investigations and enforcement actions against unlawful practices in our space. Robin, I'm going to send it over to you first. There is more, but we're going to unpack things slowly. Anything jump out to you? Is 600%, is that just law of large numbers, more projects we're launching, or is there something fundamentally broken in our space?
Well, 2021 compared to 2020, we had the rise of Shiba Inu, the resurgence of the Dogecoin, and the new era of meme coins ushering in, which brought with it a host of scams, rug pulls, projects that pumped and then dumped into and out of existence. So that we saw the retail FOMO. That's literally what that was, and it's kind of sad that the White House is highlighting this particular industry because it's obvious and apparent what it was. And it's people that had expectations of making a quick buck. Everybody saw there was one friend or one person they knew through another friend that made $1 million off of Shiba Inu, that made $50,000 on Dogecoin. And so the prospect of, hey, let me put in $500, let me put in $200, let me put in $1,000 into this meme project, and I'm going to become rich on the back end when 5 zeros drop off. It was unrealistic, and there were predatory chains out there, or projects that came in for a quick cash grab.
So, Rob, let me follow up with this question. Is it up to the investor to, hey, stop chasing lottery tickets, start doing your research, or is it up to the government to step in and say, hey, you're going to launch a project, you need to do this, this, and this, or you need to submit this information, that information, or have whatever the case may be. Who does it land on?
The thing is it's if you want tokens to be traded on the internet without tons of oversight and regulation, this is what it looks like. And just human nature, man. People are going to want to make a quick buck. People don't want to work for money. They don't want to work for it. Everybody always wants to get rich quick. And when you first thing you said was, is it on the investor? These people aren't investors. Investors are people that have even the term, the definition investor is to put value or money, particularly, into something you believe in a long-term vision. That's, you're investing. That's what people always say, investing in your future. You invest in education, because this is all part of a long-term plan. So these aren't investors. These are just ill-informed people that don't understand the mechanics behind this new tech, which is blockchain. They have no exposure to it. They just hear rumors of their friends making money. That's where it is. And unfortunately, this is what the White House wants to focus on. And in response, you're going to get regulation, whether you want it or not. Just depends on how wide-reaching this regulation is going to be, because people can't help themselves. And the U.S. government's got to be like, well, you guys don't know what you're doing. Look at these meme coins. So we're going to have to step in and drop some rules on your ass.
I want to, and that's great insight, Robin. I want to jump to two parts that I want to talk about. I want to talk about the first part, almost a quarter of the essentially ICOs had disclosure or transparency problems, whether it's plagiarized documents, which we saw tons of it, copy pasted contracts, launch a token, drain the liquidity, and rug pull the project, or false promises of guaranteed returns.
Copying a white paper and changing the name at the top.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Literally, or false promises of guaranteed returns. This is where the SEC talks about it's a security. People are expecting returns. You're saying we're going to pay you monthly. It's kind of like a dividend. Also, wanting the SEC and CFTC to aggressively pursue investigations. To me, the Gary Gensler is going to take a look at this and say, well, the White House wants us to crack down on these people. And so you're going to see more and more lawsuits. You're going to see more and more frivolous lawsuits in the cryptocurrency space. And it'll come to a point where they won't take the time to look into certain projects or founders if they're not anonymous and say, hey, this, and this. It'll be more of a blanket thing. Like, hey, everyone, you need to come in and register. You need to come in and do this, or else you can't list, or else we're going to ban you, whatever the case may be. This is what, now I agree that these are issues. Plagiarized contracts are issues. People rug pulling are issues, okay? But do we need the SEC to come in and start suing people left and right? No. I believe we as a community, we can do a better job of holding people accountable and doing better research and understanding where to put our money and where to not put our money.
The thing that gets me is that there's a disconnect on the report compared to where the space is actually going. So the report has, for one, it is highlighted central bank digital currency. It's highlighted money laundering and fraud. It is highlighted the failures of meme coins and investors' tendencies or people's tendencies of throwing money into these speculative assets that realistically don't really have a market. Now, they might have had a quick market. It might have had a quick inflow of money, and then, it might have just kind of dissipated. But what is lost here is the framework for some clear-cut regulation, or at least direction, some kind of blueprint for how does Bitcoin, how does Ethereum, how does Cardano, how does XRP, how do these tokens fit into our current monetary system? Whether or not it's with the SEC, with the ETF integration, whether it's with KYC, whether it's paying taxes, your capital gains, none of this seems to have been addressed. But the thing that they seem to be focusing on is, for some reason, meme coins, money laundering, and
you make a great argument,
and it's just like they're focusing on the wrong things.
And
when they drew, I'm sorry, but when they drew on this, when they drew up this executive order, it was to get some clarity. And I feel like the only thing they clarified was, hey, we wanted a CBDC and a lot of money laundering and a bunch of scams. And it's like, come on, man. You're not focusing on what's important here.
Here's the thing, Robin. In any situation, right? You can look at the years old, glass half full, glass half empty. You can turn any narrative into a positive or a negative. Robin comes in and says, I bought new shoes. Wow, Robin, that's amazing. Those shoes look great on you. Or I can say, wow, Robin, you spent $100 on shoes. You shouldn't have done that. You're terrible with money. You can turn any narrative or situation to swing your way, whether it's positive or negative. And that is the issue we're seeing. And that is the problem we have. And Robin hit it right on the head. Now, let's move on to what the White House wants moving forward. They want to align global payments practices, regulations, and supervisor protocols while exploring new multilateral platforms. So essentially, they want to make the rules and regulations and make sure everyone around the world aligns with those regulations and protocols. They want to provide innovative U.S. firms who are developing new fintech with regulatory guidance, best practices sharing, and technical assistance. So the companies in the U.S., the tech companies that are delving into this space, into fintech, we want to give them regulatory compliance and help them, essentially. And they also want the Treasury to complete an illicit finance risk assessment on DeFi by February of 2023 and an assessment of NFTs by July of 2023. Now, we saw this with China. We saw China ban crypto, and guess what? People found a way, whether it's through, I'm assuming a large portion of it was VPN. The US, they're not stupid. They understand that if they decide to completely ban crypto, well, guess what? We can set up a VPN too. We can say we're in Canada and deal with cryptocurrencies. They don't want that. They understand the only way they can control and manipulate and regulate cryptocurrencies is by having a blanket rules and regulations across all nations across the entire world. Robin, you want to share your thoughts on kind of what I just went over here, and I'll throw this back on here just for reference for you. Anything stand out? Anything you're worried about? Or maybe there's a positive in here that I haven't seen.
I mean, once again, to go back to what I was saying, is that I feel like there is little to no clarity on what these products that the mainstream crypto community, the people that are your Cardano holders, your XRP holders, your Ethereum holders, the major projects, there is no clear path for these as far as being integrated into the current financial system that we have. That's what I was hoping for. I was hoping with this White House report, this executive order, was the projects that I'm invested in, the projects that you are looking to, that you're looking down the road, that you're bullish on, that you're like, hey, whether it's Hedera or Hashgraph or whatever it is, what roadblocks can you remove so that way institutions can get behind them, invest in them, use them for what they're built for? Because right now institutions are scared to touch any of this. We say it all the time. Institution ain't getting in until there's some clear-cut regulation, and
or at least some clarity.
That's what I'm saying. And the NFT and the DeFi thing, they need to have some framework. I guess so, but I hope they hope they have something.
I will.
That's a little bit more put together than this. In February 2023, a whole DeFi like outline. It's a short time window, and there's right now we're not getting any indications that they have something that the industry, the users, and the government are all in compliance with, that all match up.
I will note that because the Treasury Department released theirs as well. I will note that reading through that, it's not all negative. The way they were talking about NFTs and what they can do, it's what we've been talking about. It's what people who understand the technology behind NFTs and how they can change what we do every single day and make it better. They focused on that, okay, when it comes to NFTs. So that was a positive. I think the people that sit there and say NFTs are just JPEGs, you're about to be pleasantly surprised. I want to move on to the last part that kind of stood out to me. Hot topic, CBDC. I will tell you, the White House wants a CBDC. Here is a direct statement I pulled from the White House report. A U.S. CBDC system, if implemented, should protect consumers, promote economic growth, improve payment systems, provide interoperability with other platforms, advance financial inclusion, protect national security, respect human rights, and align with democratic values. But further research and development on the technology that would support a US CBDC is needed. Now, if you've watched our show, I am very vocal about being against the CBDC. I do think there are positives from a CBDC. I just don't trust the government to not overreach and because once a CBDC is live, you essentially, everyone who receives or has a CBDC will have an account at the Federal Reserve. What does that mean? In real time, they can track where you spend your money, how you're spending your money. They can withdraw money from your account. They can also add money to your account. They could tell you where and when and whether you can spend those CBDC dollars, where you can spend them, what you can buy with them. Too much control in the hands of the Fed, but It can also provide some positives, like if a certain region of the country is suffering from shortages of, or higher gasoline prices, they can supplement money into your CBDC account in real time, not have to wait for them to issue it to the bank, for it to go through the system, for the bank to give you the money and take 2 weeks. If you get a tax return, if you're a family that makes under 80 grand a year and you need your tax return money, as soon as you file, you can get that money back. You don't have to wait 3 weeks, a month, 3 months. Some people wait a year. I know people who filed who haven't gotten their money. So there are positives. They can also adjust interest rates based on demographic, based on how much money you make. But again, do you really trust them to stop there and not overreach and tell us where we can spend our money? Robin, I think it's safe to say and tell me if you disagree, we are going to see a CBDC. My opinion, there's no question. Right?
Yeah. It's coming, and here's the thing: you can focus on all the negatives, but it's fundamentally better technology than we have now. We have a paper and 3 to 5 day business to settle system that's in place, and it's outdated. It doesn't work. I mean, it works, but it just doesn't work efficiently. And whether it's blockchain or it's not, you're gonna get a digital money that facilitates transactions more real time. That's coming, whether you want it to or not. Whether or not it's on a ledger that's blockchain that's validated, or whether it's just digital Robin, on servers.
I think the issue is who controls that ledger. Is it the federal government, or is it
Well, we've
the free market?
We've seen other countries using was it Sweden, right? They're using
Norway.
Norway's using the XR. Well, no, is XRP network?
I believe.
Yeah. Hey, here's the thing. I think if the technology's there, it's proven, it's stood the test of time. Why go through the process of building one from top to bottom? Government does offer contracts. I mean, you can look at the military, for example. They don't actually build any weapons. They're all built by contractors. You can look at ships. You can look at military bases, infrastructure, the computers. They don't build the computers that they plug into the walls at their offices. And so,
but there's something, Robin, that's missing there is the power and control. When you can control people's spending and people's money.
But what I'm saying is that to roll out a product, sure, you can control people's computers if you build the computers. But what I'm saying is to roll out a product that is used across the 60 million people here, and or 600 million people in the U.S. or whatever the number is.
600, like 350.
Whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of people here.
A lot of people. Yeah.
And if you want to have everybody plug into that network, it's got to work. And, does the U.S. government want to build and try to create a system over the next 10 years to perfect it? Like, I just think, realistically, they're gonna use somebody else. I mean, I'm not saying it's out of realm of possibility they'll go and build their own blockchain network, but they're gonna use somebody else that can fall in line with the government's ideas, that is a yes man, that does what they want and that complies, and they're going to use them to their advantage, just like they do everything else.
Use it to their advantage. We are going to leave it right there because I think that is what spells the CBDC. Use it to their advantage. They say consumer protection for the people. I don't know about you. I don't buy it. Let us know in the comments. Do you buy it? Are there more positives or are there more negatives to a CBDC? Let us know. We're curious. That'll do it for the video today. Make sure you come join us Monday through Friday at 10:30 a.m. Las Vegas Pacific Standard Time for our live show. We have lots of fun. Also, on your way out, like the video, subscribe. Thank you so much for your time. We will see you next time. Take care. Peace.